afternoon mga kababayan dito sa Long Beach. We are now here at Romeo Chocolates.
Yes,
and I think this is now one of the most popular chocolate shop here in Long Beach. And with me today is no other than the proprietor of this shop, Mr. Romeo, and our guest today, Miss, of course, Töngi. Please tell us what we're doing today.
Consul General, thank you so much for being with us today. G, we've done so many things, collaborations together. I just want to thank you for being part of our segment as well too. Particularly with the courses that we're providing for our guests today. Our inspiration comes from the various chocolates that we have traveled around the world to source, but especially our heritage chocolates from the Philippines.
Okay.
Talking about the Tablea, this one we've sourced from our local market at Island Pacific.
Right, like this one.
Yes,
Tablea.
po.
Okay.
So what I'm preparing today is I'm getting our Tablea chocolate ready. And as I get this ready, because I want to get it to the exact temperature, I want to demonstrate two different methods that we can do to prepare Tablea. So, Consul General, when we prepare this in the Philippines, traditionally we use this kind of like Sikwate pot.
Right.
And yes, batirol, I think is what it's called in the Philippines. Is that correct, G? Because like when you use these here in the U.S. and in California, it's called molenillo. Particularly because when we look at the Spanish Manila galleon trade, a lot of the traditions that come from Mexico have been influenced and inspired by what we're doing in the Philippines as well too. So there's a mutual exchange of culture with Mexico. So you could put in this Sikwate pot and this batirol. But if you do a modern version at home, you could set essentially on your burner, you could set a pot with your chocolate there, and then you could use a whisk such as this. And I use it like a traditional batirol. So I would spin it so that way I can get that texture, that nice mouthfeel on the chocolate.
Right.
So this is a beautiful product. I want to thank Island Pacific for sponsoring our ingredients. With this tablea, this really brings me back to the province. It reminds me of...
This comes from Cebu.
This is from Cebu, but if you go to the Philippines, when you go to Mabini, you know, I'm from San Nicolas, Lipa. Tablea is very common. You're Patangueño too, right?
Yes.
So it's very, very common there. Now, what our hope is for Philippine chocolate is that it gets introduced into the fine chocolate scene internationally.
Okay.
And so hopefully our tablea and then our chocolates that come from Malagos and come from Theo and Filo get introduced to the fine chocolate scene too.
Okay.
So you could do it either of two methods. The Sikwate with the batirol, or we could do it here as well too.
Right.
Right?
Oh, that's how you do it.
So it's up to your palate, it's up to your taste. On here, Consul General, it recommends that we do 3/4 cup water, and then you do 1 tablespoon of brown sugar, which we have here as well too. And then you put 2 to 4 tablets of your tablea.
Okay.
Depending on how your traditions are, some people like it very earthy, very bitter. Some people want it a little bit sweeter. So when you eat this directly, it's 100% cacao.
100%.
So, which is great for you. If you put that in your cereal, it's very delicious. However, if you eat it like candy, it's very, very earthy or very bitter.
It's just what in tablea. You don't need to add any other like milk.
Yes, so we could put on here, this is mixed with water, we put some brown sugar, but what we're going to do for you all today is we made some fresh creme chantilly. So we're going to put some fresh creme chantilly on the cups there, and then we're going to do a little bit of shavings of tablea chocolate on there as well too.
Okay.
All right, so please, if I can have folks, feel free to have a seat. Our team will now serve you some tablea chocolate.
Thank you very much.
All right. The creme chantilly on there, a little bit of Belgian chocolate to go along with the tablea. Tapos we're gonna grab the tablea and we're gonna do some nice shavings on.
Okay, so maraming salamat, Romeo. Can you tell us about this preparation? Ano naman ito?
So this is a nod to our heritage with the tablea chocolate that we're doing. So you have that 100% cacao that comes from our beautiful cacao, heirloom cacao trees in the Philippines. We made a fresh creme chantilly every day, and so there's fresh whipped cream on top.
Okay.
As I was telling G, it's okay to have a little bit pop of sweetness, and so we have Belgian chocolate drizzle on top too.
Wow, okay.
And then lastly, we did a little bit more tablea on the shavings over there too. What we're hoping to do is that the American palate gets very familiar with these Filipino flavor profiles. It's a very decadent dark chocolate drink. So with no further ado, please cheers.
Well, as you know, the one of the objectives of this project of the consulate is to try to help Filipino-American businesses that were affected by the pandemic. Alam natin maraming nagsuffer, ano? And so So what I would like to ask you is how were you doing during the pandemic? Did you have to close also?
We've been very fortunate. So what we decided to do, Consul General, is first of all make sure that the safety of the team is really prioritized. So as the pandemic was rolling around, and I could remember it like it was yesterday.
Correct, yeah.
March 13th, 2020, to be specific, and that's when the CDC guidelines started to come through.
Correct.
We wanted to make sure that our team was safe, and so we assessed what were the guidelines and decided that, you know, instead of closing, let's figure out a way to be of service to the community.
Oh, right.
And so what we decided to do was turn into essentially a bodega or a sari-sari store. And so because we have our distributors, we were able to get essentials like pastas and rice. Toilet paper at the time was a hot commodity. And so we had to make sure that our guests had those resources. And we've been very thankful, Council, because what has happened is that our community has supported us to stay open.
Great.
So they came in, they pre-ordered their groceries, and as new guidelines came about, we were able to start doing delivery of our chocolates.
Yeah.
And as we dubbed it, Council General, these are called the Chocolate Cabanas.
Right.
And so we could come out here, out in the shade, and enjoy some chocolate.
Yeah, cheers.